Hello everybody and welcome back to Emerald Delta in Cities Skylines 1. Now since the last episode I have gone up to $200,000 in our treasury and bought our third tile over here for today's main build. Now in the last episode we built our farming area, which I still have to name. Actually, I've completely forgotten to do that, but I will be naming it as Emerald Fields, again just for the theme of the entire city. And this farm is so extremely overpowered. It's made so much money, and also they do have a bit of a problem with the amount of goods that they can sell. Basically, there's not enough producers over here, and that is something I will be tackling probably later in the detailing time-lapse, placing down some more processors over here so we don't have as much clog up on the main fields. But today I want to work over on this side of our city. I am going to be expanding our starting town of Willow, building an entire nature reserve over here, using the hotels and retreats DLC to make a lot of money hopefully, and of course building our transport hub on this pedestrianized area, which is where we are going to actually start. But before we do that, I need to make this road cross over the highway and start working towards what will eventually become our downtown. So that means, unfortunately, I'm going to have to cancel and destroy quite a few houses, and that is something important. That's the police station, so I better move that over to there. And destroy some parks and houses so that we can get this to bridge over the highway. Hopefully this is far enough to make a realistic looking bridge. I want to move the elevation step as low as possible, and of course turn off all the snapping just so we can follow how the rest of our road network is currently going. So hopefully we can get up to 3 with a somewhat natural looking incline and get it over that. That looks pretty good. And then I want to weave it down. This can probably go down a little bit at a lower gradient, and it'll eventually connect to that main road here, which we're going to build to go off again towards another section of the downtown. Now, the reason I have done this is because this is going to be a tram or bus route. I haven't quite decided what one we're going to use yet, and it's going to go off eventually into a roundabout, which we will build over here. And then we'll have one road going off to whatever we build up over here, which will probably be some downtown area, something like that. And then a major road going through here to our main city. And that would be something very important to build. And hopefully it should be pretty good with the traffic flow. So what I'm going to do first is we have got to clear out this entire area. How many people are we going to lose? We're going to lose 297 people, which isn't brilliant at all, but it is necessary for the future of this city to completely demolish the entire section. And that will hopefully not cause too much of a fallout. This is why I went up to $200,000 in our economy, just so I can get away with doing this. And now I've got to figure out a good design using the Plazas and Promenades DLC. Now I want to have a central building be quite prominent. I'm going to move this right to the edge just for now. I'm just going to bring out, we're going to use the sandstone roads, I think, just because they bring a little bit of brightness to it. But what I want to do is bring in probably a tram road, just because we will be using trams in this city. And this will have a central building on the side. So we're going to have this tram road like this. We're going to go down to get the smaller ones coming around the side, I'd say, just to have this come straight down and maybe like that. But actually, what I want to place down as the central building for this area is the tax office. So we have this central road going off towards this main sort of town hall looking building. And then round the back of this, we can just put in a one-way tram road, just so we can have a turnaround point for the actual tram lines. And then the rest of it can all be, that's way too short. Bring that across. Nope, still too short. Actually, now I think about it, we might want to level off this terrain. I don't think this is quite level. Build the strength up, level this off just so we don't have any funky looking roads being built here. And then once again, get in that 1-lane track which goes to this one and then along like that. And then these bits can be regular pedestrian roads, which we are going to use the ones with trees going down the middle, I'd say. So we're going to bring in this one, upgrade. Or don't want going down the middle. Have them going down the middle on all sides. And then this will be sort of like our central area for where the trams come in. But I also want to bring in a bus network as well. And that will also be using the bus-only pedestrian roads, which I want to bring in at another chunk. I don't want these nodes to be too close together. And this can come in and come over the tram track, hopefully, which it does perfectly, and then come in line somewhat with this path. I don't want that to happen, though, so I bring it in this one as well. Okay, bring it into this section here, and this will be where the buses come in to stop. So I just want to make this more even as well. I would do it in the detailing time lapse, but this is 6 across. So you want to make this come out 6 as well, which is there. Actually, no, it's not. If I just measure it from this side, actually, that's 4. Because that's 6, and bring that in. That should now be symmetrical on both sides. And then we'll have 2 bus lines, one that will go off towards whatever we build down that way, and the other that goes off into the main downtown area. Now, all of this is still fine for water. I do want to bring the actual sort of land value of this pedestrianised area up, and I do want to try restore the people living here. So what we're going to actually do is use some of the pedestrian area plazas that come with the Plazas and Promenades DLC. And I might have to just move this back a little bit, because what I want is to have this come in leading into the tax office as well. I think that would be a very cool sort of design. And that looks absolutely amazing. This is exactly what I wanted for our transport hub. And I think on the outsides, in these little sections here, I would sometimes put shopping, but I think we might use some of the other plazas. And I want to see if we can keep this tree line in, which we can't quite. So is there a smaller one? So I do want to try keep the tree line in for this actual building, but I don't think we will. So I'm going to use one of the overroad plazas, which is the large food truck or the large ice cream one. And I think we'll go for the food truck. And that just completes the entire look of this section. I think this looks absolutely amazing. And just imagine, with this being a transport hub, there's going to be so many people in here. It's going to be absolutely insane. So what I want to do is bring back some shopping just around this central sort of area of this pedestrianised section, and that is 8 there. Because we did demolish quite a lot of shops, and while we do have a lot of money, I don't want to jeopardize all of that money. I do want to try keep as much of it as possible. And I do want to bring people back into this section as well, but I really want to prioritize getting this area to look really nice. And I think another good building to place in this area is actually a library. And that could be a very good centerpiece at the end of this road, I think. If we bring this in here and try get a central library, which is in the education section, there it is. If we can get this to be centralized, which I think it is, and then once again, bring sort of like maybe some, I'm clicking all over the place, maybe some non-trees, and bring this all the way around, and that encapsulated connects this road to the main road as well. Now, we don't want traffic lights on here. These are pedestrianised roads, so we don't need traffic lights. Maybe here and here we will. Don't want traffic lights on this one either, but make sure that stops, I'd say, there. Just so we don't have too much traffic. No traffic lights. No traffic lights. Just put stop signs on both. And this is starting to look really cool. So we actually place down our tropical trees. I really like using these for these pedestrianised areas. the pedestrianised areas always feel a little bit more luxurious than the rest of your city. So placing down these California palms, which come as one of the content creator packs, I think, just makes it look absolutely amazing. I don't know, these might be base game. I don't remember buying them, but I also, because they're content creator pack, they might be with another DLC. I can't quite remember. Now, I'm going to try create a somewhat good sort of style to build some housing blocks and stuff like that around here, just so we don't lose all of that population, because we lost 277 people, which might not seem like a lot, but that is quite a lot when we only have 5,000. Now, the good thing about these pedestrianized roads is they show you where the next node will be to create the 4x4 grids, sorry, the 8x8 grids to maximize your zoning. And I do definitely want to use that. Bring this road straight in like that. Maybe bring in some regular trees just so we can sort of block off that one-way tram road a bit. And I think for these back roads, bring in some natural oak, some live oak trees around the back like that. And then this here can be some shopping, let's say, and the same on this side. I don't think that's not quite symmetrical. How wide is that? That's 6. So we want to bring the road actually in somewhere here. So that would be 6 like that. So yeah, bring the road in there, because that wasn't quite symmetrical. And I want to make sure, as I said earlier, this looks really good. Bring in the shopping there. That looks good. And then along the back, obviously we're going to expand this quayside along. And obviously we can't get it underneath the bridge in vanilla. We need to use mods to get it underneath the bridge, which I think is extremely stupid in my personal opinion. But hey, that's how the game works. So sort of just have to accept it. And I think we might be able to get as close to the rail bridge as possible. Can we get under? Actually, we can. We can actually get under. That is good to know. Obviously, no one's going to be walking under there, I hope. They might do if they utilize the path on this key. There is a pedestrian path connected to it, but I haven't seen anyone using it yet. But this just completes the look of the river. And this side, I won't do just because it's the farming area, should be fine. Now, what else do I want to put into this section? I want to use the fountains as well. And I think maybe I could place them down either side like this. I'm sort of wanting to go for symmetry, as you're able to tell, but I don't want it to look too excessive. Now, this is the Blackstone variant. Is there a sandstone variant? Now, the good thing about these builds, they have sort of variants to them with the Plazas and Promenades DLC. So you have a little bit of customization for it. And I think this all looks good. So for now, we're going to zone back in the people who were living here. Hopefully, we'll get 277 back, but we might even get a little bit higher up. And I think here we're going to put in a sort of square food truck or ice cream stand. Or we could do in a larger one, Statue Plaza. Actually, we don't have to do any of that. We can put in one of our unique buildings, and I want to put in the statue of shopping. That doesn't fit there. We can put it in right here, just to add a little bit more tourism to this section. So I'm going to let everything build up, bring maybe some housing along the back here as well. So let all this build back up again, hopefully get the 200 and so people back into our city, just because it'd be a little bit disastrous. And then we're going to go over here and build a small little service point. We are very limited for space, actually. How big is the tram depot? The tram depot is a little bit too big. So we might have to clear out some housing here and build a small little service point just to make sure everything runs smoothly. Or because the trams will run along this main road, I can just place it down in the industrial unit as well. So with this pedestrianised area now built up how I'm hoping for it to be once we've finished, it's time to start thinking about where our transport routes are going to go. So what I'm thinking is for the tram network, the trams are going to be the direct routes to the final destinations, while the buses will run between and like wind around the villages, working their way into the downtown mega transport hub eventually once we've built it, which is we're going to go somewhere in the middle, sort of towards the ocean, because I don't want to incorporate ferries and cruise ships into it. So what I'm thinking is we're going to bring the actual tram line along this road and then up through the main village and then off towards where we will eventually have our downtown area. But for today, we'll run into our nature reserve, which we are building over here. And it will also have a connection point to the main industrial complex, which does unfortunately mean we're going to have to destroy the sight line, which I worked really hard for in the first episode of this water tower, as we're going to have the tram line go straight through the roundabout. And then for the buses, again, it's going to be weaving around the entire city. So what I'm planning is we'll have it come along the front to these sort of housing, this little small housing area here. And it's going to weave its way through this sort of suburb. It will be quite complicated, and I might just bring in some new routes just to make it a bit easier for it to connect between the two sides. And it will just weave through the town of Willow, and then it will also go off towards the nature reserve and off towards the city eventually. But the whole point of it is the buses will be for everyone, and then the trams are like the more direct route. So I'm going to start off by placing down our tram roads. And what I am hoping to do is use some pretty wide ones to hopefully not interrupt traffic flow too much. And I do want to bring in bus roads as well. So this here is a 6-lane road, which means that we have still 2 lanes for traffic like we currently do, but we also have bus and tram networks and also bikes, which does also make it so that hopefully traffic flow in the city goes down massively. But right here is where we get our first problem. So I'm going to destroy this water tower, and I'm going to need to place it down somewhere else. And I think I might be able to get away with placing it just a little bit to the left, I think. But what I'm going to do first is just complete this tram network the way we had it up this entire road here towards the industrial area. And hopefully this should keep traffic pretty smooth, I'm going to say. I don't know how I'm going to incorporate it here yet, and I might come back to this later to figure out how trams are going to get into this chaos. Don't worry about this chaotic bit here. I placed down these 2 small barns here, so traffic flow in this farm is going to be absolutely terrible for the next few minutes of the game. But right here is where we have our small little challenge. I want to use regular tram track straight across like that, and like this as well, so that now we have the actual main trams going straight through the roundabout. Shouldn't be too much of a problem for the actual roundabout and the traffic flow of this road itself. And I think I'm going to keep this overgrowth here as well. Just keep it a little bit more green. But this main road here might be a bit more annoying. I'm going to try keep it with the 4-lane road, and it should hopefully be able to follow all the way along and up to where we will eventually have our natural park area, our nature reserve area, which we're going to be building once we've got all of these tram networks in. But for now, just so we can get it all built, I'm just going to build a temporary little circle. You have to like end it so that the tram can actually turn around on itself, just so that it actually works properly. And I'm going to have to do the same over here, because I'm just going to have the tram road end right here. So what I might do is maybe within this roundabout, I might be able to try edge in sort of maybe a main sort of road thing. Don't know how it's going to go, but hopefully if we get this right, I might be able to get a small little tram line that just runs through and around this sort of rock. I want to try to keep the rock I just want to try to keep the rock. Come on. That isn't going to let me do it. Okay, so what we might have to do is just try to edge it around. So hopefully, if I get this right, we can then edge it around like this and around again. Come on. and around again. There we go. That's going to cause absolute chaos on this junction, so I might change how this works eventually, but for now we're going to place down two roads, not two roads, two pathways, just to connect the tram stop to the actual industrial areas, because otherwise people will not be using them. And then bring that one in for here, and that'll be where this tram line stops. So for now, let's start off. We need to actually build the tram depot, don't we? I forgot about that. We're going to need to build sort of like a service point here, is what I was planning. So these houses, unfortunately, are going to have to go. And we can build in the tram depot. I want it to be as close to the edge, to the train line as possible. So that is all connected up. This is very loud. We're going to get a lot of trees in here just to completely cover this up. Hopefully, villagers, the people, citizens won't be too angry about this. This should hopefully be quiet enough. Obviously, it's not letting anything out yet. But for now, we can work on our actual tram line. So I'm going to start right opposite the main industrial complex. Run along here. It's going to come out here. And what I'm hoping to do is have one stop on this side, and then another stop on that side. So it just goes round to the basic circle. And it will run along here. And I don't want too many stops. So the first stop will be opposite the school. And then maybe another stop a bit further down. And then we'll just put a temporary stop there just so that the line comes through properly. And once we have this done properly, then obviously we'll have some more tram networks. I might actually bring it in and change how this road goes and bring it in and around to here to join this main road and go off towards the city. But that'll be something we do later on. Now, actually, what I want to do is go back to here again. Now, that is going to be a little bit more annoying. So maybe I'm going to go back on myself a bit. Just to try and make this as efficient as possible, because I don't want it to get too crazy right away. So this stop here will be going, let's make this less complicated. Right, this side will be going straight into the city. So it'll be the road that goes to here and off towards the nature reserve and the city once we've built it. It's going to come back on itself, obviously, have the stops opposite the originals. And when it comes through here, the stop on this side is going to be going into the industrial estate. And that will run along to here and then complete the line like that. And I think we do actually have to change the direction of these roads just to make it cause a little bit less mayhem. So that should be a little bit. Do the same over here, just so they don't cross over each other. But now we have that main tram line done. There's going to be trams coming out of here, hopefully. And what I want to do is change the colour. We're going to change the colour to a dark red to start with, and change the tram model. Now this comes with the Snowfall DLC, and these ones here come with the World of Vehicles, I think. And we're going to go with the... We're not going to need 132 right away, any of these really big ones. So let's go for the 72 model, I'd say. It's a pretty good model to start with. And also, we actually have to monitor. This has 14 trams going right now. I'm going to go down to 5, because obviously right now is a very small route that just goes along here. And it will expand as the city goes along. But that is our first tram route connected up. Just going to end this just so that doesn't keep complaining. Now we want to bring in the buses, which is, again, going to be pretty simple. These buses can actually get into the industrial areas. So we're going to have to place down our bus depot as well. And I might place that down in the actual industrial unit itself. So that can go down. Put it down here, just on its own separate road for now. And you can build our first sort of bus route that goes along the entire area. Come along this road here. Go to there. Hopefully this will change itself properly so it can sort of sort itself out later. Have a stop there just to direct it. And then it will come down to this road, I hope. And it'll come along here. We'll have a stop opposite the pathway here so they can get into the actual sort of town. And then this is where we bring in the actual bus routes. That comes round, and actually I might change that so it goes down to that stop there so we can go completely across. And then again, complete the stop there. Now this is where it starts to weave its way through the actual town. So I want to have some stops along here. And I think another one there. And actually, before we continue that, I'm going to connect these two roads together. Just because then we'll be able to get a good loop round for this bus route. So drag stop to move it. So now we can continue that. Bring a stop in on this side. And I think maybe I want to put a stop there and go straight across. But I don't know if it will let us. Hopefully it will. I don't think it will though. Will this road be able to get through here? It will. Somehow it will. Right, so bring that road, sorry, to that house. There are a sacrifice that is required for this bus route. So then bring these guys round to this main road. I think down. Oh, yes, I've got a good route here. Come down to here, past this park here. Then they can come along this road back to the main road. We will then come along, and then again, right now, we'll just place it down like that, just so it can get to the nature reserve. And once we've built this up, it will go off on its own route. And then it's sort of got to go back on itself, all the way back on itself. It's going to have to go there. This might cause quite a bit of chaos, so I'm going to have to keep the amount of buses on this route as low as possible, because this will definitely cause some traffic chaos. So just following along this route exactly to how it is, coming along like that. Where does it go? It goes down. And then should it go back through here? I don't think it should go back through. It should just go straight to, oh, I don't know, straight round, stop there, and then finish off the route right here. And that is going to be a very long bus route, but if we get a 29 buses, yeah, we definitely do not want that many. I'm probably going to do 10 for now. Color can stay red. And the bus model, I am going to use one of the articulated buses. Let's use the 71. Hopefully that should be enough. Buses do normally get quite a lot of usage in City Skylines, especially in my cities. But this should hopefully be enough. And as you can see here, the traffic's cleared over here. So that bus will probably be able to go around this loop here. So that looks like our transport hub is now sort of working. There's no one actually using it yet. I don't think, but yeah, as you can see, trams are going through this. 3 people on that tram. This will get more usage as the city expands. And I'm just going to let it run up. So I need to get some more money again to build our nature reserve. But we will be now moving on to actually building our first nature reserve over by this lake. So I've done a little bit of work to get the tram lines and bus lines to work properly. And that has meant the amount of money we have has absolutely exploded. But now it is time to start working on our nature reserve, which is going to be built in this forest here. And it might cross over the rail line. I don't know, because this could also be a good place to build our university. Hopefully in the next episode, if we reach that population of 7,500. But I'm unsure if we're going to be able to do that. But what I'm going to do is actually build off a small little roundabout right here, I'm going to say, just so it's a little bit easier to manage traffic flow, because it will be quite a big tourist destination, I think. And I don't want anything to go wrong, and I don't want anything to get really bad. So let me turn some snapping on. Let's turn on angle, road length, and let's just turn it all on. And I want to build just a 5x5, I'm going to say, which is about that. That is 5 there. No, that's 6. Okay, I'm going to turn off road guidelines because they always are really annoying. Right, so that is 5. That's 5, and then okay, that's the roundabout build. That does look good. We're gonna reinforce it with dirt roads just so the structure doesn't end up like ruining itself or anything when we put the roads back in. Now, what road is this? This is a 2-lane with grass in the middle. I'm gonna turn that into a 3-lane with grass in the middle, and then just curve that in. Do the same over here, 3-lane, curve it in, and then get rid of them. Now, right now, that is a traffic light system. So if we get it to be one way, it should get rid of the traffic lights. The one-way system is going the complete wrong way. This is right. Is this left hand or right hand? This is right hand drive in this game. Right, okay. And I just have to get rid of these traffic lights because traffic lights on roundabouts are never a good thing. Now, this is an interchange for here. So I might actually, should I move it actually? I might actually scrap that and move the roundabout somewhere else just because we want it for it to be all the interchanges. And right now, it's not quite matching where we need it to be. So I'm going to delete it over here and maybe delete that bit there. And now we'll come in with the interchange. Get rid of road guidelines again. 5 by 5 is what we want. So that's 5. There we go. This should fit in pretty well. 5 and 5. Now for new players, to tell when you're at 5 nodes or 10 nodes, it is literally those little lines here. As soon as that line on the end shows up and it creates this little grid, that means you've hit 5. And once you've hit to the top, that's 10 nodes. Just for new players to know that, because it is quite a big part of detailing your builds in City Skylines, is making sure that your actual roads are the right lengths, especially for roundabouts. I can go straight in like that. This was a 2-lane. I'm going to turn that in. Okay, so that should all be absolutely fine now. Upgrade this to 4-lane 2 road. Let's do 3-lane 2 road to start with. See how it goes. No, the traffic lights are done. Cool. And now we can bring off our main road, which will lead into our nature reserve. We'll come off here and run along, probably. Let's run along the pond of it, the lake, sorry. And this can come along to where we'll have some of the nature rentals and hotels, which will be around here, this side. And then we'll have the main entrance for our nature reserve coming in. That's a zoo. This is the main one. You want it to come right in. Let's put it right in here. And we have unlocked the basic tents and campfire stuff, just some campsites, which will dot around the forest. And then we unlock some more cooler stuff as we go on, like hunting grounds, stuff like that, lookout towers, everything like that. So this has to be painted out to be this entire woodland. And I might also include the lake as well, just so we can get some sort of pier sort of things put in. And I think I might actually include the other side of the rail line as well, once we unlock it. And then we'll put our university at the end of this. So I think putting a university at this end of the downtown would be quite a cool place to put it down. Or we could again put it over here in this new unlocked area, anywhere around here. I haven't got quite an idea of where to put it yet, but I know I want it to be a very high-tech sort of area, so like a research park area of the first skyscrapers coming in. Now, the first thing I want to place down is actually getting some hotels and retreats down, and that is using the nature cabins, which do need electricity, which will be annoying because the only way to get electricity to them is the power cables. Or we can put, there's not really enough wind here, is there? Maybe we could put some in here just to power it a little bit. I'm not really sure. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is place down some wind on the farm, some wind turbines that can go on the water, and that should hopefully power it enough And it won't look too bad, I don't think. It should be completely fine. And I want to bring some dirt tracks up for these cabins to be sat on. And I think I'm going to bring them up from this node here. And they're going to curve through the forest like this. And that means we can place down, hopefully, quite a few. Because as you can see, this is a very strong nature area. And nature and sightseeing is their only demand, which the sightseeing will come in through the fields that we place down for our nature reserve. And we're just going to place some of them dotted around the lake. As you can see, these already have 75 out of 75 for their nature, and then 25 sightseeing, which will be placed down later. Going to turn the price all the way up to 80 to try and make as much money off of these as possible. At the start of using these things, they won't make too much money. But as we unlock to the higher ones over here, the designer hotels, stuff like that, we can start bringing in $40,000, $50,000 a week. Well, right now it's only generating not that much. But I actually have placed down, I forgot to mention, I did place down a town hostel in our small plaza area, just because this wanted business, nature, shopping, and sightseeing, and this fit in perfectly for this area, as you can see here, just because it is a more touristy area. So, with these placed down, maybe place a few more down the road. One needs to have a good amount of space between them, I'm going to say. Just so it looks like a sort of like nature reserve, and these are the holiday areas, I guess. Do you know what I'm saying right now? And then we do want to bring in some small side gates as well. So I don't want anyone getting into this park for free. That's not how it's going to work around here. So we can bring in some two small gates like that. And I think we're going to bring the main path. I'm going to turn off all the snapping again. And we can bring the main path just winding around this forest. Got a main path like that. And we'll just have these small trails going around. This one will go over the rail line and go off into this forest later. Connect this to the main road. And we'll have a bridge probably crossing so that we can actually get people over without them having to pay more money. And then get this path to go again all the way through the forest down towards here. And I think this sort of just patterned area will actually look quite good for a small nature reserve area. Now, what we want to do is get our bridge over. And it could be a pretty steep bridge, I'm going to say. It's probably going to be about that steep, probably. Just so we can get it actually snapping back down to 1. And then get it to come up at a reasonable gradient. I think that looks decent. Just come across the bridge. And then instantly start coming back down again. And this can start to curve back round like this into our main pathway there. Okay, that is perfect. Now I want to put in some small little camping grounds. Let's start with one base, not near the railway line or near the highway. Let's place one at the end of this path here. Just get some small tents going. I don't think these need any electricity or anything like that. You put a campfire in the middle like so. And in the props part of the nature reserve, we have all the basic things like a small little well, stuff like that, just to make this feel more like a proper campsite area, which I'll come back to during the detailing time lapse, just to get this all feeling like how it's supposed to. Just want to see, yes, but the nature has gone down with the roads. They do need water. I completely forgot about getting water to them. Now, as we upgrade our actual, our hotels and retreats group, we'll be able to unlock some better ones for these. Right now, we'll only have access to the rental lodge, but eventually we'll be able to get, I believe, this one, the old inn. No, one of these is really big for nature again. The mountain lodge, when we get to 3 stars, that can make a lot more money as well from us. And that will be very expensive to make as well, but it should hopefully all even out. Now, what is the entertainment value? 421. Turn this up to $15 to make some more money off it. Main park advertisement campaign. Which one of these is for recycle? That's for nature reserve buildings, and night tours as well. We don't actually have night, so it doesn't really change anything. So hopefully this should be pretty good. I might place down maybe another camping area down by this road. I'm going to actually make a small little gridded area, just like a main campsite, which can come off of here. Do a small little one grid, I'm going to say. Bring a road through the middle as well. And this can be a main campsite with some 2 campfire areas right on either side. Have the tents dotted around the entire section, simply like that. Get some variants in the tents as well. We don't actually have that many tents. We only have 3 tents for the entire area, which is a bit weird when you think about it. But having this here, and then once we detail it up with some more camping areas, will make it look very cool. Now, one thing that is a bit weird, we have all these tents you can place down, but we do also unlock camping sites and campgrounds and stuff like that, camping sites, everything like that, which we unlock at the next level, but we do need to get to 200 visitors here, which might be relatively hard for now while we wait for guests to come in. And I might have to bring the bus line that we have down to this area just to get some more people over. So what I want to do is it's this road here. I want to drag a stop in to be right there. So it should hopefully be completely fine how this works. So it'll come down here, around this roundabout over to there, and then down the route that it's currently going. So that should be fine. So now we've got the buses coming over to the actual national park area, and hopefully this will drag some people over. We don't have many guests here for now, but once we get some more nature reserve builds, I'm going to build our nature reserve museum once we unlock level 5 here, as close to these hotels as possible. And hopefully, yeah, we can actually unlock to level 2. For some reason, it's not letting us. But we do have the right levels to go up to level 2. So what I'm going to do is get to hopefully a level 2 park. Maybe that might take quite a while. But maybe it upgrades some of the areas around here. And then I've got to jump over to expanding these suburban areas, this town of Willow here. We need to get 7,500 people basically as quickly as possible so we can start building up our college area, our campus area in the next episode. Okay, so I have started work on a second suburb area, a second town on this side of the highway. I did actually record this. However, as I was placing down the piping, the game crashed and deleted all the footage for that. But hopefully we didn't lose too much because it did go back to the last autosave, so I can still sort of discuss what my plan is. As you can sort of see, I have got this basic grid system, which then turns into the more natural curves that we see in the town of Willow. And what I want to do is build a large shopping road, shopping street down this main road near the path to bring in some more tourism, especially using the hotels and retreats. I want to get this to a 3-star hotel chain so that we can unlock the Mountain Lodge and place it over in our natural park. So what I'm actually going to place down is a roadside motel and a small hotel here just to bring in some more people. Right now, their popularity is going to be very low, but that should improve as this builds out with more shopping. And for this area, I have placed down the European Suburbia and hopefully bring in shopping malls as well, but we can't unlock them at the same time as European Suburbia. So I'm going to do something slightly different. And instead of European Suburbia, we're going to place down, what is it called? Self-sufficient buildings. So we can still get some nicer looking housing. We have done it over here. We're going to have an entire sort of suburb with these sort of houses. It just looks so much nicer than the standard base game vanilla housing, especially when these get to like level 5. They look ridiculous. Some of them, like, look at this one. That is absolutely ridiculous, some of these houses. These ones, absolutely fine, look normal. Then you get ones like that, and it just looks absolutely terrible, which is why you've really got to manage how your starting area looks when you're playing Cities Skylines, because if you're not careful, you can get some really ridiculous looking neighborhoods. We don't have that problem though with green cities. So what I was doing before my game crashed was I placed down one of the shopping malls DLCs, the shopping plaza, and put some car parking at the back of it to make a sort of like area that would just boost the tourism for this section for the hotels. And I also wanted to place down in the level 1 unique buildings was the Statue of Wealth with a line of, what was it, California palms at the back of it. And then we were going to like mass zone some housing, so I'll see some housing in there. And just select, please. And obviously we've got the curves again that we had in the town of Willow. So we do sort of have to be careful with how all the housing looks. And I still want to leave those gaps for paths and everything like that, which we will come back to during the detailing time lapse. Now, I don't want housing to get too close to the main bridge here, just because that doesn't really feel natural. And to power this whole thing, the final thing that I did in the footage that has been since deleted was I built a small little service point, nothing grand, and no like industrial units or anything like that. Just a service point to place down some very sort of basic amenities and a new power grid, which was the geothermal, and placing that down. Just link that over the bridge because once this zone becomes housing, which will be happening quite quickly, there's a very high demand for housing right now. It will link the entire power source, everything like that, very quickly. And I also wanted to place down the post office, which is just something that just boosts the land value a bit. It's not really necessity. It comes with one of the DLCs, and it's not like amazing to use. And I also wanted to place down, what was it? Where is it? There is something around here. But I can't remember. There it is. Road maintenance as well, just to make it so that pedestrians and traffic can use roads a little bit faster. So what I'm going to do is jump into the detailing time lapse right about now. And what we're going to do is fill in this new area and also complete this town of Willow. What I want to do is get this up to the rail lines. Same for this town over here. And hopefully we'll unlock level 2 maybe for the national park. If we don't, hopefully level 3 for the hotels. And just really work around here as well on the campsite, stuff like that. Make this entire area feel as natural as we did in the first episode with the starting area of Willow. And there we go, 7,500, the big town milestone, which now means that in terms of City Skylines, we have now officially become a city as we have finally unlocked high density commercial, residential and office spaces, which basically means our population is about to absolutely skyrocket. But what is most important for us for the next episode is we have now unlocked the campus area, which means next episode we will be building our first university inside of this city. And I don't just intend on building a university. What I want to build is a large research hub using monuments, using unique buildings, not monuments. Monuments absolutely suck in this game. Using skyscrapers, anything like that, to build something that looks really, really sophisticated, like it is a hub for technological experimentation, research, innovation, everything like that. I've got one in a previous city that I have built, which I'm going to take massive inspiration from. I cannot wait to build it. However, that is now also marking the end of today's episode. And as you can see, we have now got unlocked every single thing in this game that we are going to use, except for monuments. Monuments, I absolutely hate. They make the game way too easy. Like, I understand why they're at the Megalopolis milestone, but I just hate them so much. They make the game too easy, and I'm not going to use them. I might use a few, but turn off their services to make the game look better. But this episode has been very successful for this city. We now have 500,000 in the bank. Willow is now nearly completed. I haven't quite been able to finish off the detailing here. And of course, our new area of Garnet Hills has now been started, going off towards the downtown, which we can start building up in a few episodes' time, as obviously this entire section here will all be the main city, and it will be starting off in this very tile that we do have access to. And of course, we now have the national park, which is looking pretty good. It is getting close to level 2, not quite there yet. It is now finally making a profit. That took quite a while to get to. And of course, I have decorated the camping areas, making them look a lot more realistic. And I completely forgot because we started the episode with it. We have our actual transport hub, which, as you can see, there's a lot of people coming here, coming straight off the trams into the buses, which is what I did intend with the whole thing, with the tram line being the main route, just connecting work to the main road into the city, and then the buses obviously just running around the entire section. And I will have to expand the bus route into our new area of Willow and into the town of Garnet. As you can see, I've already started in this central sort of hub area. And I think I do actually need to increase the amount of buses that we have on the roads. I'm going to put that up to 15. But anyway, guys, that is it for today's video. If you did enjoy, then make sure to like and subscribe. Like I said last week, I am aiming to upload every single week with Cities Skylines and coming back to Minecraft as soon as possible. And I absolutely cannot wait to expand this city and show you guys all the ideas that I have. So make sure to subscribe. I have been Emerald Lord, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.